Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning, and doesn't this video look nice, folks? Because now it can be a reality for those that love Bison football. That is Honolulu, Hawaii, and Ching Stadium, where sometime in 2026, North Dakota State will play a football game. And with that, we say good morning and welcome to Hot Mic on this Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2026. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program, and we'll get to the unveiling of the Bison football schedule. At least partly we got yesterday from the Mountain West offices that we now know who the Bison will play. We don't know when. We don't know the times of the games, but at least we know the opponents of it, and we know at Hawaii is one of them. And what that also means is that the Bison are going to be playing even earlier than we expected, because if you go to Hawaii, you are allowed to play in week 0. We'll explain all that coming up in just a little bit. We got a lot to get to here on an action-packed Wednesday. Glad you're joining us on the doorstep of state hockey weekend. It starts tomorrow. We'll give you all the details on that. The Spud hockey team is playing for a shot at state tonight. We've got a rather large basketball game that you'll see statewide on ABC tonight on the north side of Fargo between South Dakota State and North Dakota State. It's a Bison Media Zone Wednesday. Avery Coonan will be our guest today. Excited to visit with the Bison superstar after what has been literally a star-making turn year for her, and what's to come. Potentially tonight, the Bison are hoping to cut some nets down at the Shield Center. That's coming up at about 10:30 this morning. Looking forward to our conversation there. Also, one of the area's top football players has made it official on his commitment for 2027. We'll get to that coming up in a little while as well. We'll also dive in to get sort of the national perspective on what the College Football Insiders writers are thinking about NDSU and its FBS move. Excited about our conversation there. That's coming up in our second hour here on a busy Wednesday show. But let's start. If you didn't stay up late last night, the Timberwolves were back in action last night on the left coast, facing a Portland team that they have owned so far this season. But the Wolves are coming off a dismal effort, and I'll say effort with a capital E, against Philly. And they were in a tough one last night. That's Drew Holiday with a corner three to give the Blazers a 1-point lead. Jaden McDaniels was great last night. This three makes it 79-76. Minnesota late in the third. Tied at 94, right before the end of the quarter. Dante DiVincenzo literally just rips the ball away and dunks it to give the Wolves a lead. I mean, that's literally what you see in like 7th grade. No, I'm taking it and dunking it. 96-94 Wolves going to the fourth. It's tied at 96. Dante was feeling it last night. From the logo, drills the three. 99-96 Wolves at that point. Now they're back up by 1. Portland kept coming, though. Chris Murray, rebound and scores. Blazers go back in front at 102-101. After that, though, Minnesota took control with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Julius Randle off the bounce. Remember, he wasn't feeling well on Sunday. Looked a lot better last night. Drive at an and one. He was great. That gave the Wolves a 2-point lead. We pick it up later in the fourth now. It's a 4-point Minnesota lead at 115-111. We haven't seen him yet. It's time for Anthony Edwards to show up. Drills a three. Makes it 118-111 Minnesota at that point. McDaniels, you remember, who played his college ball at the University of Washington, he was excited to be back in the Pacific Northwest. Here off the miss, the alley-oop to himself for the hammer That made it a 9-point Wolves lead. McDaniels at 29. As Minnesota goes on and wins this one on the road last night, 124-121. They get their 36th victory of the season and avoid any sort of losing streak. McDaniels goes for 29 on 12 of 16 from the field and had 34. Dante had 19 points and a much-needed win because, as we've talked about here, for the last, we're going to have 7 weeks of the NBA season, it's going to get cluttered every night of the Western Conference because if you win, you could zoom up a couple spots. Lose, and you could drop. Well, last night the Wolves won, and the Lakers lost late to the Magic. So as you wake up this morning, Minnesota now holds the 5 spot, a full game ahead of the Lakers, just a half game back of Houston and Denver, who were tied for third. It looks like 1 and 2 look like they're safely hidden from everybody else. I mean, the Spurs are a full 6 games ahead of Minnesota. So it looks like Thunder Spurs are going to be 1-2, which they might be the 2 best teams in the NBA. Let's take the May out. They are the 2 best teams in the NBA. Then you've got the Rockets, Nuggets, Wolves, Lakers, with the Suns, Warriors, Blazers, and Clippers in the play-in. Wolves will stay out on the left coast. They've got the Clippers coming up for their next game on Friday. But a good win last night for Minnesota, sparked by Jaden McDaniels. I've said it time and time again. When McDaniels goes, the Wolves will win. And he was going last night, and they end up beating that's a salty Portland team who always plays well at home. They weren't the only Minnesota team playing last night. The Golden Gophers were challenging themselves with third-ranked Michigan in the Big Ten. And actually, if you watch this, the Gophers just hung around last night. I mean, you thought at times that they would just pull away. Langston Reynolds, it's a big shot there for Minnesota. Kate Tyson hits this 3, converts the 4-point play. It's 39-37. Gophers are right in it, and then they weren't. A little alley-oop for the slam to Ademara. That makes it a 7-point Michigan lead. Then the drive and the finish from Elliot Cadeau with a Euro step. That put him up there by 18. That corner 3 to Namari Burnett. That made it a 16-point lead. Michigan goes on and wins it 77-67. That gives the Wolverines a share of the Big Ten championship. Again, Gophers are playing basically, I mean, Nico Medved's doing this with 5 guys. They fall to 13-15 on the season. Tyson scored 20 to pace Minnesota, but literally they got 0 from their bench. 6 guys played last night. Grayson Grove played 38 minutes. Bobby Durkin played 39. Isaac Azuma played 38. Tyson didn't come off the floor. He played all 40. Langston Reynolds played 38. Kai Shinholster was the only other Gopher to play. Played 7 minutes last night. I mean, literally, they can't get to the clubhouse to end this season fast enough. And yet, I'd say he's done a heck of a job with what they've got, because they literally have nothing off the bench right now, does Minnesota, with the amount of injuries that they've had. So they've got about 5 games left in the season, then it's on to the Big Ten tournament to wrap up 2026 for Minnesota. All right, we've waited long enough, because I know everybody wants to hear what I have to say. I think mighty highly of myself on the Bison football schedule. So we had heard that something was coming, and officially yesterday it got released from the Mountain West offices at 2 o'clock. Now, again, the league told us when they were here they're going to stay at an 8-game schedule after the addition of North Dakota State, which meant NDSU was going to miss 1 team. And I had heard rumblings as early as last week that Hawaii was in play for a potential road game, because I've been told there's a strong possibility that NDSU is going to play a Week 0 game. And the only way you play Week 0 is if you're going to Hawaii. Well, it became official yesterday. So here is the schedule. And again, we do not know when these games will happen. We just know where these games will happen. The Bison home schedule will consist of Nevada, led by former Montana State head coach Jeff Choate. Northern Illinois, which has an interim head coach. It'll be the 3rd all-time meeting between those 2 teams. I haven't met since the late 60s. Have the Huskies and the Bison. They will come from DeKalb to Fargo. They're also one of the newcomers in the league. The other newcomer is the University of Texas El Paso. They are coming to Fargo as well. The Miners will be here, and the Wyoming Cowboys, who we think might be the early entrant for early league rival for North Dakota State. Wyoming will play here at the Fargo Dome. They played, of course, in 2008, a 16-13 Cowboy win, which many, I think, still look back and say the Bison should have won that game. That was a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas in 2008 for Bison football that year, which was their first, ironically, in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They played Wyoming that year. So those are the home games. The road games did them no favors. I will tell you that right now. They got the three best teams in the league of the teams returning to the Mountain West Conference, and then throw in a perennial pretty good team in Air Force. So the Bison will go to Hawaii. We don't know again when, and from what we visited with the league last week when they were here, there normally are some travel stipulations that either they get a bye after that to acclimate coming back, although some teams decided to play right afterwards. I'll get to the time on this in a second because we don't know those either, but we maybe have a good base to maybe guess from on when that game will be. North Dakota State will also go to Colorado Springs to play Air Force. I was hoping, frankly, that game would be here. Just Air Force pedigree, that would have been a heck of a home game. As it is, the Bison are going to Colorado Springs, which should be a great environment there. They also will go to New Mexico. For the first time, they'll play a game in that state against Jason Eck and the New Mexico Lobos, who made the Rate Bowl last year. They won 9 games. They had a heck of a year. They lost to Minnesota in the Rate Bowl, but New Mexico is certainly on the uptick after his first year after coming in from Idaho. And they'll also go to Las Vegas next year to face Dan Mullen and the Runnin' Rebels, who won 10 games a year ago. That game is at Allegiant Stadium. That's where UNLV plays its home games. Right off the strip. We were there a couple years ago. We did the show, and the Bison football team, we don't know if that game in 2027 is still going to happen at Allegiant Stadium against Montana State, but we do know the Bison will play there this coming fall. So those are the games. Those are the 8. The 4 non-conference games we do not know yet. I've been told that from a couple sources I trust that the Bison have 3 of them locked up. A 4th is still working on. So maybe in the not-too-distant future we'll know the non-conference games. Now, let's go back to the Hawaii angle on this. Just looking last year at Hawaii's football schedule, because I know people are going to be curious, like, what time is this game going to happen, right? So last year, Hawaii played in week 0 against Stanford. They're playing Stanford again this year to open up the 2026 season. That game was at 6:30 Central Time because it was on CBS. CBS wanted a game. They got Stanford and Hawaii, which was at 1:30 Honolulu time. Their other home games last year kicked off at 11 p.m. Central Time. They played Sam Houston. They played Portland State. They played Fresno. All those games kicked off at 11 o'clock Central, which is 6 o'clock Hawaiian, because Hawaii is 5 hours behind us. There's no other way to sugarcoat it, folks. That's a late night. They played Utah State at 11 o'clock. And their other home games they had, San Diego State was a 10 o'clock start in November, and their final game of the year with Hawaii was also, a 10 o'clock Central Time start. So I would brace for at least that kickoff likely being late at night. That's just the nature of the beast of going out there. I can already tell you that there was overwhelming, is excitement the right word to describe what the fan base is? Because now, honestly, this is the dream road trip that you'd hope for. Honolulu and Las Vegas in the same year. And I will only say this, and this is going to sound like spiking the football on the Missouri Valley Football Conference, but what the Bison were planning to go to on the road this season, and we don't know the non-conference games yet, but The non-conference four in FCS was going to be San Antonio, Conway, Arkansas. It was going to be Youngstown, Ohio, Vermillion, South Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Who am I forgetting? No, they were coming. South Dakota State was going to be here. SIU was going to be here. Illinois State was going to be here. Not Murray because they were missing them. Who am I forgetting? There was one other conference home game. But you get my drift here. That they've traded Youngstown for Honolulu. They've traded Colorado Springs for Vermillion. And that's going to sound like I'm throwing shade or I'm casting dispersions on those towns, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm also just pointing out the stark Northern Iowa, Cedar Falls they were going to go to for their other home road game next season. So they've traded Cedar Falls for Honolulu. They've traded Vermillion for Las Vegas. Even Albuquerque they have now traded for Youngstown. That's just matter of fact. And I get the home games, even that, like the home games that next year were going to be SIU. Illinois State would have had a little bit of added juice to it simply because they beat the Bison in the playoffs to end last season. South Dakota State was going to be here. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if Wyoming or UTEP or Nevada is not going to go past what South Dakota State would have brought because it's the Jackrabbits. There would have been significant juice for that just because it's SDSU. But the other home games that were on the schedule for next year, Austin Peay, East Tennessee State, I'm going to tell you already, Nevada, Northern Illinois, UTEP, Wyoming is going to exceed that. That's not even close. And we don't even know the other two non-conference home games yet or the two road games still that will be announced. So get your travel vouchers ready. Get your frequent flyer miles ready for you Bison fans because there's some traveling to come from Hawaii, New Mexico, Nevada, and Colorado. That's where the Bison will be playing their road games in 2026. I still kind of shake my head when we saw it, but that is now the deal. Now, if you're asking me when the dates are going to come, that we don't know. I would anticipate sometime in March, and then after that, the television part of that, we're still not going to know till May. So for those asking, hey, the games are going to be, where are we going to find them? I will tell you, reiterate again, not till late May, probably on TV, at least for the early part of the season for Bison football. But we got the conference part. Now it's finding out when the games are going to be is the next fun part. But that's at least step one of what's going on with Bison football. Much more on that and the schedule coming up in our second hour with Bison Media Zone at about 10:35 this morning. We have a packed Wednesday spectacular ready to unfold here on this halfway point of the week. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Drew Trafton will be by in just a few minutes. We'll chat some combine chatter and some other good topics with Drew coming up in a few minutes. At 9:35, Taye Reich will join us from Moorhead High School, who announced last night that he's going to play football at the University of Minnesota. One of the many standouts, local standouts of the class of 2027. Taye announced last night he'll be a Gopher. We'll visit with him coming up at 9:35. And at 10 o'clock, excited to welcome on Brandon Marcello from CBS Sports. Brandon wrote a column last week on the Bison move up to FBS, get his thoughts on his takeaway from this move, and give us the lay of the land in the Mountain West. He covers all of college football. What can we expect about Mountain West football? How NDSU will fit in with that league? That's coming up at 10. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Wednesday morning. We'll take our first break. Hot mic is off and rolling. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
Our guy Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. We're getting ready for Combine and all that good stuff.
Underwear Olympics.
Yes, that
Let's
starts
go.
tomorrow, which everybody loves to chat about that
Yeah.
and give the lowdown on what's going on. Couple things. ESPN has got out here because, can never not stop talking about the NFL, is the predicting all 32 NFL starting quarterbacks for next season.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Interesting.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a few we don't even need to go to. Like your team, we know who's going to be the starting quarterback there.
Got a strong feeling that Mahomes guy might be playing for the Chiefs.
Right.
Yep.
So, for the Minnesota Vikings, projected starter, want to take just a guess? It's not J.J. McCarthy.
Okay. Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Is it Kirk?
It is Kirk Cousins.
Am
I living in a time loop?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
I don't like that idea. Like I've just been like strongly against that notion that like bring him back. It's like what do we? I mean, he's been sitting like on the shelf for 2 years. And I mean,
I would
for
feel
the
better
most
about
part.
Aaron Rodgers more being.
Yeah, I mean, like
the
I've heard people talk so much about how Rodgers doesn't fit into KOC's system, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, but I think at this point of his career, like they speak the same language. Yeah. You know, I mean, they can figure it out. You know, and it's like I would, I think that there's some. There's something solid there. Kyler Murray, I've heard thrown out there a lot because he's expressed interest a little bit.
So they have Murray at the Browns.
Okay.
They have Kyler Murray as the Browns starter.
Yeah, and I'm not huge on Kyler Murray as being a Viking.
I don't want Kyler Murray
either.
anywhere near Minnesota.
Yeah, you're talking about these guys who have injury problems, and I mean like that's what you're trying to avoid here.
So the Jets, this one I can't even. Spencer Rattler would be the Jets' projected 2026 starter.
Man, they're just like going through them.
What are we doing?
I mean, are you going to pay him $25 million a year too? What's the?
The Jets were the hardest team for me to predict in this exercise. There are so many feasible candidates. There are. Are there really? Tell me who's available.
Feasible. Yeah.
New York certainly could be a landing place for a non-Mendoza rookie quarterback, and it would make sense for the Jets to be in the Malik Willis sweepstakes. If they want a stable veteran, perhaps the Jets would look at Cousins or Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr coming out of retirement?
I don't know.
Though neither would be the necessary long-term solution. Or New York could contemplate a few trade candidates with Mac Jones, Tanner McKee, and Rattler among them. Though he ultimately gave way to rookie Tyler Shuck, Rattler was solid last season in New Orleans. Was he? He recorded a 50.3 QBR. Is that good? I don't even know what QBR is good. And a +3 completion percentage over expected. And then they get into analytics here. The former 5th-round pick is entering his 3rd season, so he could still improve. I love that. He could still improve.
Yeah.
And Rattler would likely cost less on the trade market than Mac Jones as well.
Well, of course he would.
Well, I mean, the 49ers are going to hold Mac Jones for ransom there.
Yeah, and I don't, like Mac Jones, I think he provides you a safe floor. Like, I don't hate that one. Malik Willis, I really struggle with because I really feel like unless he's in that, like he's with a coach like LaFleur, like in Green Bay, or, you know, like one of those like offensive gurus, and maybe Kevin O'Connell could be that for him. He'd be okay, but you have to, for him, I think you have to give him 2 years. You know, it's like it's not like a rental type situation or where he's going to take a 1-year deal. I think he's been hyped up enough and he performed well enough over those 6 games that he started last year that you're at least in for 2 years and probably a 3rd-year option. Like it's probably going to look something like that.
Spencer Rattler, no.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Mac Jones is in the same draft class with Zach Wilson, right? That was the 21 with Trey Lance.
Yep, they were all in the same draft class.
That was Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence went number 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
No, it didn't.
It did not.
That was one of those years where...
The top 3 picks that year was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Went 1, 2, 3.
And Trevor Lawrence is, I mean, you know, second contract guy in Jacksonville, and the years he's had,
he's been okay.
In all fairness, like in the years he's had like a really stable situation, he's played all right.
I mean, Justin Fields has already played himself out of another team here because he's not going to be back. I don't think he's going to be a Jet next season.
No, I wouldn't think so.
He's going to be on his 4th team.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is going to be on his potentially his 4th team as well if the Chargers don't bring him back.
Yeah,
crazy. Crazy. They have the Chiefs
crazy.
with Mariota starting. We think Mahomes is not going to be ready for Week 1. The injury happened in December.
Yeah, but I mean, like those guys recover so quickly now.
Yeah, from ACL, it's typically the case. The Cardinals, they have Jacoby Brissett, which was the guy who started at the end of last year for them.
And they're not really in a great position to. I mean, they're quarterbacks, like it's Mendoza or, you know, good luck.
Let's see any other surprises here. Everybody else we know. Raiders, they're going with Mendoza as the guy there. The Saints with Tyler Shuck. Nobody else I think would be. Those are the ones I think are the crazy,
Yeah.
the ones off the wall
But,
there that we just mentioned.
Yeah, like free agency though seems to be
They have the
big
Dolphins.
thing.
Sorry, they have the Dolphins with Malik Willis.
Okay, that
So
I
no
mean,
Tua. That
yeah,
he's
but we don't
donezo.
really know what's going to be around in Miami. They're like fire sailing that team where it's like it seems
true.
like everybody's out the door.
And they were speaking. Their GM. I don't know who the other guy was. It wasn't the coach. Maybe it was because they have a new coach there.
Yeah.
It was the GM and coach was on Rich Eisen's show yesterday and saying that all options. Eisen asked twice about Tua. Said all options are on the table, and Eisen says, does that mean cutting? And they said all options are on the table.
Yeah.
So obviously that means they're moving on from Tua.
Right, and I mean he that's a dead cap number right there for sure.
You're
I
right
mean,
though. Everything is pointing towards free agency in terms of what team, especially the cap went up for everybody
right,
too.
by a lot.
Yes.
But just the way that this draft class is situated, I watched some of those GM interviews yesterday, and it seemed like there were several that were saying like point blank, like we're here to talk to like the agents.
Yes.
You know, like
Yep.
and that was
Wheeling
their
and
main.
dealing.
That was their mission. They like the combine is almost like a sideshow for those guys. You know, this week and
Right,
it's
that's the after party that's going on.
Yeah, and it's like, and everybody's been talking about, this isn't a great draft class. This isn't a great draft class, and maybe that's putting that extra emphasis on the free agency. But there's value to be had there, I think too. But it's just not in those, the blue chipper guys. Like I don't know if people are really super stoked about what's out there.
NFL announced today the Jaguars and the Commanders will be the host teams for the NFL's 3 London games in 2026. So we knew Jacksonville goes every year, but now obviously Washington will play a game over there at Tottenham.
I don't remember Washington playing another international game. Is this their first or
no? I think now everybody's
played
gone
one.
over.
Yeah.
Now it's just a matter of how many is going to happen because eventually we're going to have 18 international games on the schedule.
And I love how when you hear like one team's hosting, that it's like everybody else can deduce like, well, we don't play that team or we do play that team, but it would be a home game. So then like you can eliminate like all but 3 possible games.
Oh, that's look
and
here.
matchups.
So Washington, their home games this coming year, they're not going to play a division game. So you put the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles out of there. They have the Rams, the Seahawks.
So the Rams are already playing an international.
Oh, that's right.
game
The Rams
against
are going
San
they're going to Australia.
Yeah, so I can't
They're not
imagine
doing
they'd
that.
make them do that.
Seattle
is eligible for an international game this year.
That's a
So that
heck
could
of a
be
long trip.
Yeah.
Houston, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Atlanta are the other home
I
games.
can see
that
all
Washington
those.
has.
Yeah, like that those would make sense.
And the Saints, we already know, are going to Paris as well.
Yeah.
I'm
First
really
Paris
interested
game.
to see, this Sports Business Journal. We talked about it quickly yesterday. We got to go that that package of games that the ESPN had, the former Monday Night doubleheaders, are going to YouTube. That I have to imagine, are those all going to be international games?
Yeah.
I wonder on
It
that.
could be. I mean,
You know?
that would make the viewing a lot easier for a lot of people.
Yes.
Internationally,
And
not necessarily domestically.
Well, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they care about that.
No, they
anymore,
don't.
you
No,
know?
no, not so much.
They know people are going to watch. If
Yeah.
it's an NFL game, you have to have YouTube. You got to have Netflix. You have to have Peacock, and then you have to have obviously all
the
your
whole
other
gamut.
right. You got to have 7 different things.
Yeah.
But they get it because
They're
it's
the NFL.
football. It's the NFL.
live. It's exciting.
Exactly right.
They do
Every
not
other
have
sport
off seasons.
Right. Every other sport would love to have what they have. I mean, the fact we're talking about it now, and we're 6 months away from games.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a game in 3 weeks.
Right.
It's like it's insane. Baseball's starting. March Madness is around the corner.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just pushed over to the side
here
right
comes
now.
the NFL.
Great stuff as always, bud. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday at 9:20. We'll break. We come back. The first big commit of the class of 2027 is in the books. That's Taye Reich. He's coming up about his decision to commit to the University of Minnesota. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns right after this. Welcome back, everybody. The football Spuddy logo brings us back, and there's a good reason why. Last night, if you missed it, we have our first 2027 local commit in the boat. Moorhead's Taye Reich announced last night that he's going to play football at the University of Minnesota for the class of 2027. One of the highly touted and highly coveted players in the area, and he joins us here this morning. We were joking off air. We've been chatting for the better part of a couple years, man. So now this is done. It's official. Just tell me what your emotions are like this morning.
I mean, I committed a couple days ago. I just made the announcement last night, so it's been a nice, easy couple days. The fact that I don't really have any stress anymore. All I need to really worry about is the next season coming ahead for us for high school.
All right, why Minnesota? That's the easy question. Tell me why the Gophers.
I mean, I said it last night too, but first, I love Minnesota. I love my state. I mean, it just makes it a lot more special, the fact that I get to continue my education and my athletic career in the same state that I've been living in the past 17 years. So just the fact that I get to stay here for longer it's really special to me.
I know Coach Fleck put on maybe the full court press is maybe the best way to describe it. Let's just go back. When they first were interested, how much did that pique your interest? Like, all right, Minnesota is a Big Ten school is interested in me.
Yeah, well, I remember the spring ball that I went to, and Dave and I both got the offer from Coach Fleck. We were sitting in his office, and he gave us the offer. We were not expecting that at all. We went out, and after when we were driving home, I was like, dang, I really want to go to Minnesota. Like that is where I want to be. And obviously I didn't pull the trigger yet because I still had quite a bit of time to make the decision. But in the back of my mind, I really knew where I wanted to be, and that was home.
So that happened, and obviously there were other schools that were talking to you that offered you. How much did Minnesota stay in the forefront of your mind, even when other schools, you went on visits to other places?
Yeah, it was definitely still on my mind. Like, I would kind of compare those schools to Minnesota, and they just really couldn't compare. And it's not like they're not nice schools. Every Division I school is incredibly nice. They all have crazy, incredible facilities, but just the culture at Minnesota is completely different. I'm going to go back to the spring ball. When I was there, the team meeting that I got to sit in, it was like very, very structured, and the attention to detail was very impressive. And that's like one thing that I really look for in coaches. And that's what I value that I have in myself is just the attention to detail. And like all of it was, this and this, everything was on schedule. It was it was really, really fun to watch. And I was like, yeah, this is really what I want to do. This is where I want to be.
To have this done. Okay, so I got to know, who was the first person you told when you said, okay, I made up my mind? Who did you tell first?
Well, I was talking about it with my parents, but I mean, I told Coach Mo that I wanted to commit, and then I think I called my grandparents. Those are like the first people outside of my parents.
What was that reaction?
Well, my dad told me to like joke with my grandma and tell her that I was like failing algebra or something.
Geez.
So I told her that, and then I eventually told her that I was going to Minnesota. And she's like, they were both really happy. And then she asked me if I was actually failing, and then I had to tell her no. Yeah.
So have this done, and we were visiting off air, and you mentioned it here off the top. I mean, is this like the 18,000-pound elephant off the shoulders? I mean, this is you've been doing this for almost over 24 months.
Yeah, it's a huge weight off my shoulders, and probably off my parents too. Just the fact that they know that I'm set now. I don't have to worry about schooling or where I'm going to go. I know where I'm going to go. I know what I want to do. And it's huge weight off my shoulders. I can just really focus on the next season ahead, which is my senior season. So
Big Ten football goes without saying, but it's Big Ten football. What are you most excited about, and also the biggest challenge you think you have for yourself up ahead?
I say the thing that I'm most excited about is just like the development at the next level. It's going to be unmatched compared to high school. Like, obviously I love the boys here. I love my coaches. I love everybody. But the fact that Big Ten, I would say, arguably the best conference in FBS football right now. And the fact that I get to go there for the next 4 years and develop into an even better running back, an even better player, an even better person, it's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. But I still got to get through the first season ahead first, though.
I got to ask, on knowing the spotlight got bigger on you guys as the year went along. You guys kept winning games. I talked with Coach Feeney about this. I talked with David, and I talked with Jed about it as well, knowing there were, especially when you guys got to US Bank Stadium, that there were certainly going to be more eyeballs. Did you feel that even from you were being recruited? Did you get a sense there were more college scouts, recruiters, or looking at you guys when you got to US Bank Stadium?
I mean, a little bit, but I guess it was just really, really we were really, really focused on the fact that we were in US Bank Stadium, and right now it's lose and you go home, or win and you keep going. And I think that was the biggest thing for us. Like, we haven't been on that big of a stage before. Like, none of our team has been on that big of a stage. So just the fact that we get that opportunity, it's great for our entire team and our entire program, because more kids that may not have been getting looks are getting looks now. And that just opens up the doors for everybody to get recruited.
Do you tell Coach Fleck you can play both ways? Because you do that in high school?
I did not say that. No, I'm running back oldie. That's my goal.
Have you gone back and watched the Edina game, or no? You can't watch it.
I've watched recaps a little bit. Brings back mixed emotions, I guess. Like that was the most emotional I've ever been after any game of my life. Nobody on that team or in the crowd has ever seen me cry like that. So it really hit hard. So I mean, I think the thing that bothers me the most, it's not even bothers me. It's just every time I see somebody they haven't seen in a while and we haven't talked about the game, they always bring up the game and they bring up the 6 touchdowns by Chase Bjorgard and stuff. And I'm just like, yep, I know. Yep. Yeah.
It was an unbelievable game, man. And the only reason I bring it up is because of that. It was you guys had just an unbelievable run to make it there. Especially, I remember I was at the Wayzata game, and obviously Jet was hurt and thinking, boy, what could have been maybe with this season. Did you ever feel that way when Jet was out? Like, man, this is not what we all envisioned what 2025 could have been.
Yeah, obviously any injuries unexpected. We had quite a few of them actually this year, sadly. But I guess emotions vary depending on the week. But shout out to Austin Dryberg, though, for taking the reins for quite a bit of time. And he was leading us through some tough times. But the fact that Jet was able to step up again and everybody was kind of back in their place, I think that was a really, really big week 8 when Jet came back and beat Edina going into the playoffs. That was really, really big momentum shifter and momentum builder for us.
We had both Coach Feeney and Jet on after the Woodbury game. Was it the Woodbury game? I can't remember when the pizza deal. Can you recount that? Of you guys sitting around waiting to eat? What was your vantage point? Did you make some pizza that night as well?
No. I remember that. I was not. I was sitting in the back of the bus and I had cornrows in, so I was taking them out because they're so itchy. And I just remember we went to the pizza place and Coach Pike got on the bus and was like, raise your hand if you can make pizza. And like 3 people did. And they're like, follow me, you got to make some pizza. So we were just sitting there. Some of them were pretty good. Some of them were kind of nasty, not gonna lie. But it was really fun.
Hey, at that point, you were hungry enough, you're going to eat anything, right? I imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you let your mind wander, like playing at a certain opponent, like, boy, playing Ohio State or playing Michigan? Have you let your mind go there yet?
Honestly, I really haven't thought that far ahead. I guess the fact that I haven't even made it to campus and I'm not even enrolled yet. But once that starts and I start winter workouts and spring ball with them, it's gonna probably start rolling in again. Wow, this is the real deal. I'm actually doing this.
How about for this upcoming fall, knowing you guys bring all the heavy hitters back, knowing full well you may be the number 1 team, at least preseason in the state. Describe that expectations, Taye, knowing that everybody's going to be coming for the Spuds this year and knowing who's coming to Moorhead as well this coming fall.
Yeah, well, the fact that some schools that haven't driven very far ever get to come to Moorhead, I'm really excited for that. We're going to get after them all. I guess the fact that we could possibly be ranked number 1 in the state, it's an honor, but at the same time, the higher you are on the podium, the further you fall. So if something happens, we might lose some rankings, but at the end of the day, rankings don't mean anything because I don't even know what at the beginning of the season. Right. And then nobody believed in us and we make it to the state championship. Obviously it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, but it wasn't the outcome we expected either. We weren't expecting to be that far. I mean, in the back of our heads, we knew that's what our goal was. But this year, we have a little bit more in mind, not just make it there, but win the state championship.
All right. So it's only been a couple hours at school. What's the day been like so far?
I was just in algebra. I was there for 30 minutes. And then after this, I have a dentist appointment, and then I got to go eat, so I probably won't be at school very much today.
Has your phone been blowing up, though, after you made it official last night?
Yeah, it has been. I think the most meaningful responses have been from my family, just because, they all live in Minnesota, too. So probably that has been the most cool, my cousins calling them and they're like, no way, are you serious? Wow, that's crazy. And just all the support I've been getting from everybody though, my coaches, my friends, my family, everybody.
Now, last time we had you on was this summer. You were playing ball. You're playing baseball. Are you still going to do that?
I am not going to be playing baseball this year. No. Going into my senior season, obviously it would be pretty cool to play baseball, but just with my goals and what I want to do, I really want a healthy season going into my senior year, staying healthy in any aspect I can. And obviously I want the best for the baseball team. Wish them all the best. Hopefully they can make it to another state tournament. But for me, I just need to keep my main goal, and that's get through the season healthy so I can get to college healthy. But I need to stay healthy through my first season first. I can't even think about college football until I get through high school.
How tough is that? You love baseball. You've done it all your life. To now you're going to have to basically break up with it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that I won't be like with my teammates anymore, because a lot of them I've been playing with since I was like 12 years old. So, I mean, 12 years old, I'm pushing 18 now. So it's kind of surreal. Like, we went to regionals together. We went to the Babe Ruth World Series together. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, is just the friendships. Obviously, I'm still going to have those friendships, but I just won't be seeing them every day. But in all honesty, like, I like baseball, but I can honestly say I don't love it anymore. It mixed emotions about it. Like, when I went to North Carolina, obviously that was a crazy, amazing experience. I'm so blessed that I even had that opportunity. But after those 5 days of North Carolina, like, I was enjoying it. I was living it up. But at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I miss football. I don't think I'd be able to play baseball like this all the time.
Yeah. Last thing, we came back on apparently a design you made, the football Heisman Spuddy. Can you tell? Because honest, my son loved this. This has to be on the helmets. I told Coach Feeney that this is the new alternate logo for the Spuds, right? We can make this happen.
Yeah, I actually did hear something that we might first game have Spuddy on the helmet.
Let's go. Let's make
that. Would be so cool.
But you designed this?
Not really, I'll be honest. No.
Tell me about what this making happen and how cool this is, that now how popular it is.
It is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I really didn't do much. It was AI. I typed in what I wanted to do, and I like tweaked some things. But I noticed like hockey has one. I was like, okay, that would be kind of cool. Just like put it on a sweatshirt or something. And then my parents have they make custom T-shirts, custom whatever.
Yeah. And
they have a printer at home, so they made those hoodies. They made our football hoodies for the season. So it is really shout out to them, because they kind of made it all happen.
All right, I'm telling you, can we game one make this happen, man? Because this is fantastic. I would love it.
I really want to see that. That would be really cool. I'm not gonna lie.
And I've been tell me if I'm crazy on this. Orange helmet, orange jersey, orange pants. You on board with that? I'm trying to get Coach Feeney to go that way.
I'm really hoping something like that happens. Like another color helmet would be so cool. Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, man. Really appreciate you doing this. It's a big deal, and heading to the Big Ten is a huge deal. Thanks so much for the time. Yeah. Congrats, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Taye Reich joining us from Moorhead High School, class of 2027. First big one in the boat that he's announced he's going to play football at the University of Minnesota. And obviously his two other teammates, the Gophers, are hot and heavy on David Mack and Jet Feeney. We'll see what happens there. Congratulations to Taye. Good stuff. All right, we'll break. We'll wrap up our first hour. Brandon Marcello coming up from CBS Sports in hour two. Back to wrap up hour one right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Taye Reich for joining us, discussing his commitment to University of Minnesota. Good stuff there. Real quick, you see on our ticker of the upcoming games we got coming up. Busy night last night, both all across the state, as we're down now to the teams that will play for region championships, and then those third-place games, which are the state qualifiers. Region 1, we had a mild upset last night. Central Cass beat Valley City. Valley City is I don't know if they're the ordained team in Class A girls, but the Highliners got beat by Jay Bachman's team in Central Cass, noted Tampa Bay Buccaneers nerd. Central Cass will get Kindred in the Region 1A championship game. That'll come up tomorrow night at the Shack. Valley City now has to go to the third-place game and have to win that against Wahpeton, and then win another game on Saturday up in Mayville to make the Class A tournament. This year's Class A girls being played in Jamestown a week from tomorrow. That begins, which is crazy to say that out loud. Region 2, we've got the old rivals playing there, Thompson and Carrington. We had Coach Jason Brend on the show a few weeks ago chatting about his Tommies. They're going to get Andy Broughton's Carrington team, which is always really good. Obviously, the winner of that earns the automatic bid to state. If you lose the region championship game, you're not done. You go to a state qualifier game and you got another chance. That's I think, the really neat part. Those Saturday games coming up this weekend, and we'll have those games on Saturday, the state qualifier games for A and B coming up from Mayville all day long. We'll have games at 1, 3, 5, and 7. The Class A games play at 1 and 3, and then B goes at 5 and 7. Those will be streamed on WDAY Plus. Our guy Grant Hubbard will be calling the games, and it's going to be that to me. And we heard Nathan Hoots talk about it from Maple River when he was on the show last week. Those are the games that are filled with intensity. Your season is on the line. Crowds have been great. They've been uber popular since coming in a couple of years ago, and I expect nothing less for the games to going on this weekend. So that's a little brief update there of what's going on in the high school basketball. The EDC season officially wrapped last night, so now we've got the play-in games this weekend, and then on Tuesday, quarterfinals, and then again next week we'll bring in the EDC tournament as well. If you think we're busy now, which we are, we've got hockey, and we'll give you the lowdown on that coming up before we say goodbye on our show today. Wait till you see next week what we got on tap there. A lot going on. Let's break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Brandon Marcello will join us from CBS Sports on NDSU going to the FBS and how they fit into the Mountain West Conference. That's coming up when we start the second hour on this Wednesday show. Back after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Don Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike off and rolling here, hour 2. Remember, Bison Media Zone coming up in about a half hour. We'll dive more into the now released Mountain West football schedules. We know who the Bison are playing. We don't know when. We don't know what times. That won't come out till about maybe mid to late May, but at least now Bison fans can at least get the stigma ready that instead of Youngstown, Ohio, they've traded that for Las Vegas, Nevada, or Honolulu's been upgraded from Vermilion, South Dakota. It's just a wild new world that we're getting used to. Our next guest deals in this wild new world that North Dakota State has found himself in. Wrote a big story last week on NDSU's move up to FBS football. We just want to get his perspective on the move and where NDSU fits itself into the Mountain West Conference. Brandon Marcello joins us from CBS Sports. Covers college football, all of college football. He was on with Paul Feinbaum a couple days ago. Now he's on our show. So I don't know if this is a massive decrease for you, but I appreciate you doing this. First off, tell me what you ascertained. You interviewed Matt Larson and a few of the Bison boosters on North Dakota State and the move up to the FBS.
Yeah, this is something that I know Matt Larson has really kind of wanted to get to these last few years. It's been pretty clear since he's become the athletics director, along with the president, who's obviously on his way out, David Cook, that they saw this day maybe potentially coming where, a lot of people would say, why would North Dakota State want to do this? Because they've been in a situation where why aren't you, happy and content dominating the FCS? But, as Matt put it to me, attendance has started to dwindle a little bit. That playoff game that they lost this year, that was only about 10,000, 11,000 people in that 19,000 seat Fargo Dome. And, there can be, too much of a good thing, so to speak. And if you're not reaching that absolute peak and height every year, then the fans will start to dwindle a little bit. So I think North Dakota State just needed a new challenge, a change of scenery. You can't keep beating up everybody in the school hallways and expect to still have people left over to beat up, by year 20. I think this is a good move for North Dakota State just competitively, but also just the finances make a lot of sense. This is a situation where, unlike, Sacramento State, like North Dakota State just makes absolute sense. I mean, of all the schools, we've had, 6 I think FCS schools move up to the FBS over the last like 5 years, I think. That North Dakota State's the one that makes the most sense out of all those. And you look at those last 6, 4 of the last 6 have gone on to win big games and be bowl eligible within 2 years, if not better. So this just makes absolute sense.
Brandon, I'm interested on the national take of this has been really, really positive. And I know that may surprise us here in Fargo, North Dakota, that it's just been overwhelmingly the stories have been, wow, this is a big deal. And some think that NDSU can come in and compete right away and maybe potentially challenge at the top of the Mountain West. I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You mentioned UNLV when you were coming into this segment. I mean, I think UNLV is going to be the class of the Mountain West for the foreseeable future. They've got a good NIL plan in place. They've got a great coach in Dan Mullen, who I've known for years. And they've got a great system and structure in place. Plus, they play in an NFL stadium.
Yes.
There's not many programs out there that play in an NFL stadium, and they're in Vegas, which is an absolute selling point for them, is what's really helped their NIL program. And you look at, man, goodness, UNLV last year, Dan Mullen's first year, I can't remember the exact number, but they were the leader in all of the group of 6 among getting transfers from power conferences. I think at one point they had 20-something players who were like former 4 or 5-star players when coming out of high school. And most of those guys hadn't lived up to the hype. That's why they're at UNLV. But there was that raw potential there. And they contended right away. I think a lot of people looked at UNLV. I'm not going on a UNLV rant here about North Dakota State, but they looked at UNLV and said, well, that's just a continuation of what they did under Barry Odom. No, that was a completely brand new team. And I think it just kind of shows you what UNLV's structured to be in the future in the Mountain West. So, yeah, I think that's the program and the football team to watch for North Dakota State going in the future.
When you look at how the Mountain West looks now, how stark is it, Brandon, for those of us that don't cover the Mountain West till now, with Boise gone, San Diego State gone, Colorado State gone, Fresno gone? How is it a complete 180, basically what the league is now with those teams gone?
Not necessarily, but I do think it's going to take like 3 or 4 years to get used to it. Because, you see this with every conference that has some major restructuring of some sort. So, for example, like look at the Big 12 when they lost Texas and OU. There was a vacuum there of power, and everybody's trying to wrestle it to become those new top 1 or top 2 teams. And finally, here this past season, I thought you start to see that actually happening. Texas Tech has kind of stepped up and said, we're going to spend a lot of money to be that powerful program. Then you've got like programs that have been perennial contenders previously in their other conferences, like the Pac-12. Utah stepped in and said, hey, we can continue to do this in the Big 12. So I think with the Mountain West, it's going to take a few years before you start seeing we got a really clear line of like demarcation of like, these are the great programs, these are the mid-tier, these are the bad programs or whatever, and here's the ones that could play up and maybe upset a team or two. I think it's going to be a lot of stretching out and trying to figure out exactly what everybody's place is in this new look conference.
I know Matt Larson talked to you about, he mentioned the line of demarcation for 2032, and we've talked about, I know you've written about it, everybody talked about this potential break off. We've been talking about it for 10 years. It hasn't happened. Do you think that this does come to fruition, or do the big boys now know, okay, because that's now with any issue being part of the group of 6, the access to the playoff is there. Is that a realistic thing that you could see happening with the Power 4 going their own way?
Yes, yeah. This past summer I did a series of stories I've been working on for months about what the future of college athletics will look like 10 years after the House settlement went into effect. And the fulcrum of all that really is not necessarily the House settlement. It's the after effects of that, the money, the stress on the financial systems for these universities and their boosters. And that all kind of goes down to just how much money can you earn to offset all those expenses. And that all comes down to TV money. And so everybody I've talked to looks at those early 2030s when every major contract is set to expire within about a 3 or 4 year span. All the power conferences, you got the college football playoff deal will be ending in 2032. So everybody kind of points at that and goes, at some point, these power conferences are going to sit there going, we're not necessarily making as much money as we thought we would and what we need to continue to do this. So what do we do to make sure we do that? And the question is I'm not so sure like any of these networks are going to sit there and go, hey, we're going to write you a blank check, SEC, just to continue to do what you're doing. There's going to have to be some new creation or tweak to what that product looks like. How can you make it more competitive? How can you make these matchups a little bit more, not just necessarily bigger, but also a little bit more flexible year to year to year? Because the way things are not locked in right now, you only have a small group. I say small group, but like in the SEC, you have 16 teams. There's only so many matchups you can create year to year to year. At some point, there's going to have to come these conversations, and they're already kind of starting about how do we make this product better so we can make more money. And I don't care what any commissioner or university president or athletics director tells you about protecting the student athlete and the academic experience and all that. In the end of the day, if you're not getting enough money to run your enterprise and your business, none of that other stuff matters. So in the end, it's all going to come down to that money. And I very well could see there's going to be some type of change in the early 2030s. What that is, I don't think anyone knows. I think everybody just has their own ideas.
The competition level, you brought it up when we followed it closely here when Missouri State, who was a team that was in the middle of the pack of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, NDSU beat regularly. They go up, they win 7 games, they go to a bowl game. Jacksonville State, Sam Houston, Delaware. In your mind, seeing North Dakota State, is there any, I don't know, concern might be too strong a word, but how they adjust to the competition level in FBS? Can you give me your thoughts on that?
I don't necessarily have any issues with that. I've only seen North Dakota State play once or twice, and the last time I watched them play in person was at Colorado a year or so ago in a game that they probably should have won. The physicality obviously has been there. The type of players that they've always brought in is something that would very well match up in the Mountain West Conference. I mean, I do think that, maybe we do overblow North Dakota State's record against Power 5 opponents, because I think it's 9-5 at this point, but it hasn't been great here of late these last few years. So I do think that maybe there's a situation here where North Dakota State doesn't need to kind of get away from what's made them successful, but they just need to tweak it. So you don't need to be sitting there at North Dakota State going, okay, our recruiting plan and the way we bring in players and the system we have, we need to change it completely because we're changing conferences and level of play. But you need to tweak it. You do need to bring in maybe a little bit of higher profile players. You need to play that portal a little bit more. And, the leaders there at North Dakota State have made that very clear. They've told me, and I'm sure others, we're going to double our NIL structure from $1 million to about $2 million and probably higher at some point. We've got to hire more recruiting staffers. We need to build new office spaces. There's certain things just logistically that translates to what you see on the field. How quickly North Dakota State can do that before, goodness gracious, you don't see this. You don't see a program go, hey, we're jumping from FCS to FBS, and we're doing it in 6 months.
Yes.
So they're going to be competitive right away, but they're going to have to change, and I think they know that. They do know this. They're going to have to change the way they do things, just tweak the formula a little bit, and you're not going to see what that looks like really until 2027. They'll be competitive right now, but in 2027, I think that's when North Dakota State will see kind of a change a little bit in what you see on the field.
Off of that, your thoughts on the waiver? No one's ever appealed it and had it worked. Is there any chance that they get this to go through and can be eligible for the college football playoff and the Mountain West Championship? I know it's a total guess. Your thoughts on that?
I think that with the interesting attack viewpoint here from Matt Larson is that why we're not just necessarily going to go say we want a waiver. We're trying to tell everybody that this rule that you've had in place is outdated and is for a system that was not in place 5, 10, 15 years ago. I think that's a creative way to go about this. Whether you can get other people around you to say, hey, they're absolutely right, and not make it necessarily just about North Dakota State, that's the big question. Also, you're trying to do it here in the span, I'm going to be honest with you, like at 5.5, 6 months, because not just before the season, but any process of changing anything in college athletics has to happen during this off season before before August. Otherwise, people's attention gets, they don't pay attention to it. Just look at the college football playoff conversations we had.
Yes.
Nothing was done through the end of July, and at that point, I knew nothing's going to happen. They're going to kick this can down the road because they barely met during the season. They don't have time. They're dealing with all these other fires. So, can they make that groundswell of support to change a rule in that short amount of time? I'm not sure, but I do think it's a good plan of attack, and I do think it's a good idea because it's true. This rule it made sense 5-10 years ago. We're trying to let teams actually transition. It took time to build things. There wasn't a transfer portal and all that. It's so much different now, and that rule needs to be tweaked or just completely done away with.
I don't know this, so I'll ask. How many of the Mountain West, the current teams, have you traveled to? If you have, give us a lowdown for what Bison fans maybe would expect for upcoming road trips for the 2026 season.
Yeah, not many. I mean, I've obviously been to Vegas a few times, and into UNLV for that matter. I haven't been to many. I'm trying to think. I just haven't. I will say this. From talking to folks in the Mountain West over the years and obviously talking about game day experiences, North Dakota State's going to not just fit in well, but it's going to be one of the top experiences. I could tell you, I'm sure Mountain West fans are like, we can't wait to be able to go to Fargo. I mean, there's a lot of people who just want to see that. I've always wanted to go to the Fargo Dome myself to go to an FCS playoff game. Haven't had the opportunity to do so. But I think what's probably most exciting, I'm sure, for North Dakota State fans is that they travel so well, and I've seen it in person a year or so ago at Colorado, is that now you get new places to go to for the first time in a long time during the regular season, and that's going to be exciting because a lot of these Mountain West, atmospheres, especially when you see them on TV, some of the Thursday night games and some of the Saturday games, they're pretty electric, and they can be pretty fun. So it's going to be a little bit different from what North Dakota State's maybe been used to.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be Terre Haute, Indiana. I can tell you that when we go to a chance to go to Colorado Springs or Albuquerque or anything like that. I want to end with a couple of big picture college football items that we've been discussing here, and just get your best sense on this. Do we see the portal window move again in your mind, or does it stick in December?
Oh, it's a great question. They'll continue to mess around with that, I'm sure. I think they will stick with the one for now. I think the thing to watch here, though, is that when spring practices start to wrap up this year, there's no portal window, as you know, for the first time in a couple of years. But I'm telling you, there's going to be players who just leave their programs and go enroll somewhere else. There's already talk about that among some of the coaches I've spoken to on background. That players and agents, they're thinking about that.
Wow.
So if you go through spring practice, you don't like where you're at, they're going to challenge the system, and they're going to go, well, you're not going to give us our release or whatever, and we can't quote unquote transfer. But what's stopping me from just unenrolling from this university and enrolling somewhere else like I usually do, and then if you take us to court or whatever, we'll challenge it in court ourselves. So this is the spring of litigation. We've already seen it with players.
Yes.
You saw it yesterday. Virginia's Chandler Morris is already going to court, trying to go to court to get a 7th year of eligibility. Several players have been doing that. That'll continue. And then after this spring, I think the next thing is going to be players challenging this idea of, well, I can't leave after this semester. Well, I'm a student. Any student can leave after a semester ends. Why can't I go enroll somewhere and go play football and continue my studies elsewhere? So that's coming.
Last thing, and I really appreciate the time, Brandon, would be when does week 0 become week 1 for FBS? Is that next year? How soon does the calendar move up on everybody?
Yeah, within the next 3 years.
Okay.
There's enough momentum there that's been talked about for the last 3 to 4 years. I think within the next 3 years, week 0 ends up being week 1, especially when we start discussing more and more what an expanded playoff potentially will look like and how we need to move up the dates there, because the calendar's all out of whack for a lot of reasons, but they're going to have to do it for not just the playoff and the postseason, but also for portal and high school recruiting. There's just too much going on at the same time. They need to move up the season, and I think they will within the next 3 years.
Brandon, this was awesome, but I really appreciate you giving us the lowdown, and hopefully we can chat once the college football season gets closer, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to it. I can't wait to see what North Dakota State looks like.
A lot of us are in that same boat. Thanks for the time, bud. Be well.
All right, thanks.
Brandon Marcello joining us, CBS Sports, national college football writer. Check out his story, cbssports.com on NDSU. Got a few more details on the amount of money Bison are going to try and spend here. I think it's interesting. We're looking at it this perspective of where they get to go. And I think what Brandon brought up is really interesting of the teams coming here. And Drew Trafton and I were actually talking about this in the break earlier in the show of different fan bases, like Wyoming's fan base coming here, Nevada's fan base coming here, Northern Illinois, and eventually UNLV, Air Force, Hawaii's. The Bison are playing San Jose State, but the different fan base, we've gotten used to, well, the Jack fan base we know is going to come. And we know UND is going to bring people. But other than that, Illinois State will bring 500 people, maybe. Indiana State never brings anybody. Youngstown, maybe 50 people. South Dakota brings some. Northern Iowa used to. They don't really, maybe 50 people. Southern Illinois doesn't bring anybody. You get my drift. Like, I have no idea. I think that's the intriguing part of the teams that are coming here, of what they're going to want to come to Fargo and see what it's all about. I'm sure they've heard about it on TV or seen it on TV, and then to have their team playing it, that's a whole different deal. So that, to me, is an interesting point that he brought up. And also, the last part he mentioned about players just unenrolling, I've heard that as well. Just buckle up. All the things that we used to maybe pay attention to on the periphery with college football, big boy football, now that is front and center for us to talk about. Whether it's the 9-game rule, whether it's if they're going to do spring practices and move them to the summer, all of that now falls right in our lap. And I can't wait to talk about it. It's just going to be fascinating to see it play out. The college football playoff, because now the Bison have an entry point into that. Once they are eligible for it, that will be something we'll just talk about. Until, as Brandon mentions, maybe they're going to fracture away or make up their own deal. As of now, they're contractually obligated to have a group of 6 team in it. All right, let's break. We come back. We're going to wrap things up for Hot Mike. Don't forget, we got Bison Media Zone coming up here in about 15 minutes. Avery Coonan will join me. Much more on the Bison football schedule as well. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a busy Wednesday. Tomorrow, packed show. Carlton Lance will join us. Excited about that. Jory Collins also on the show tomorrow after the Bison game with South Dakota State. Also tomorrow, it all begins out at Shields Arena. The 2026 North Dakota State Hockey Tournament. Puck drops at 11 a.m. on WDAY2 with the girls' quarterfinals. All 4 games you'll see back to back to back to back. The boys' games will be here on Extra beginning at noon. Friday, everybody moves over, the winners, to the big sheet of ice at Shields Arena for the girls' semis beginning at noon on WDAY. And then the boys' semifinals going at 5:30 after that. With Championship Saturday, we hit the air at 4:30, and the boys' game about a half hour after that. All the consolation games as well. You can stream them on WDAY+. That coverage begins on Friday at 11 a.m. Saturday, we get started at 11 a.m. there as well. So, hockey your thing. The next few days, we got you covered there. Starts actually tonight. The Spuds playing against Elk River. That game in Alexandria. I'm trying to think. That might be the first time I can remember Moorhead playing in Alex for a state or a section championship game. So many we've played up in Thief River. I know they played a couple times in Bemidji. I know they played in St. Cloud for one. This is the first time I can remember them playing in Alex. They're playing an Elk River team that is trying to score a massive upset. Of course, the state champs trying to get back there with the state hockey tournament set to begin a week from now with the Class A games. Then obviously the Double A is a week from tomorrow. So we'll have you full covered on that for the Spuds game tonight. And obviously much more. We'll get to this coming up in Bison Media Zone on the Bison women's game with South Dakota State. You're going to hear from Avery Coonan. We'll get to that in all due time because it is a large night. And I know we got a couple emails about that, so let me get to before we get to what to watch and get out of here. Dom, I was just curious if the Bison women win tonight or on Saturday, will they get the opportunity to cut down the nets like the men did last week? The answer to that is yes. If the Bison women win tonight, they are planning on cutting the nets down at the Shield Center. If they do not win and they win Saturday, they are planning to do it there. So one way or the other, if they're able to get one more victory, they'll have the outright championship. They will cut the nets down. Another email comes in. Dom, will WDAY provide TV coverage on any of the NDSU football games in the new league? Home games, away games? Just curious. So are we. I know I went into this a couple weeks ago. For those that missed it, best way I can answer, we don't know. We hope there might be an opportunity for WDAY to do one or two, but the majority of those games are going to be gobbled up by CBS Sports Network, Fox Sports 1, and the CW Network, and maybe occasional stream game. We'll see, but I wish I had more clarity to answer on that, but we just don't. Last one. Dom, simple question here. Interest is high for the step up in scheduling for the change to the Mountain West Conference. Question is, why not play all members of the league? 9 games. It still allows for 3 additional non-conference games. Wouldn't that be a common sense approach? Just makes sense to me. It's a good question. I asked the league about that last week. I was told that all options are on the table for 2027. That might be a way they go to alleviate non-conference scheduling. Also knowing that every major league has done that. Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12 are all going to 9 league games. That the Mountain West may go down that road, especially now that they have 10 members. We'll see. But at least for this upcoming year, it's going to be 8 games. All right. With that, appreciate all the comments and emails today. Good stuff. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. Again, don't adjust your watches. We're out early for Bison Media Zone. All right, here we go. Big night tonight. Final game for Omaha and South Dakota. Biggie in men's basketball. Omaha right now battling for that 4 spot with Denver. 6 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network for that. Michigan, Ohio State women's hoops a biggie. 7 o'clock on Peacock. And women's basketball tonight. It's rivalry week. South Dakota at UND. 7 o'clock on Midco for that one. Our thanks to our guest today, to Drew Trafton for joining us, to Brandon Marcello and Taye Reich. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. The Bison Media Zone is coming up. We leave with shots of Hawaii because the Bison will be heading there in 2026. We'll see everybody back here tomorrow. BMZ coming up in 5 minutes. We'll see you there.